All right, let's talk about some sonic booms.
Dude, is this Sonic Booms? I want to talk about...
where do you want to go?
It's not Sonic Booms.
Not Sonic Booms.
Oh, unless you want to talk about
Solar
Sonic.
Booms.
Have you got? I don't know anything about Sonic Booms.
Well, it's Solar Booms. Like, this is your thing, isn't it?
It's not even this. It's just the sun is really fucking loud.
Yeah, Solar Booms.
I decided we should probably not swear on this channel because I realize then we'll get demonetized all the time, or it'll be a nightmare for poor Bruno, our producer, to bleep out all of our swearing.
Fucking A, bro.
I know. No. Okay, so let's...
No, okay, we'll stop from now.
We'll try and stop.
We'll try and stop.
We'll try dirty mouth. So it shouldn't really come as a shock, though, Sam.
Do you know, it is really funny because just quickly, about the swearing. I just want to say that it's funny because you're not the kind of person that I would think of as someone who swears. And then I met you, and I was like, oh, he swears a lot.
Yeah, no, I do swear.
I typically don't swear. I don't know. I swear around you because you swear, and it's kind of my gateway.
It's not a good thing. It's kind of, I feel...
We'll try and rein it back a bit. That's all right. So
make it more impactful.
The sun.
Like I say, it shouldn't come as a shock that the sun is really loud. Did you open up that first link there, the Boston.com link?
Yes.
So this has some information about... Zoom in on that a little.
Oh, yeah, go.
Okay. So basically, back in 2005... I love this.
Yeah, going back to 2005.
Right, when you come across something like this on the internet and it's just like some random website where there's this really nice little piece of content that looks like, this website looks like it was built in 2005.
It was.
So it's basically just asking about how much energy does the sun produce and what makes it so stable. The stable bit's not interesting, it's just nuclear fusion. The energy,
simple. And
it's also not that stable. It's a giant burning ball of fire in the sky. The numbers in here, I felt, are interesting, but I basically crunched them down into like something a bit more comprehensible because this is like, a trillion nuclear bombs.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's what I came up with. I took some notes on this because it's complicated.
Okay.
The sun, energy produced, right? And this is, we'll get into why, it's really loud because of this. Every second, it's 1 trillion 1 megaton bombs going off. The energy put out is the equivalent of 1 trillion 1 megaton bombs, which doesn't mean much because a trillion is a trillion is 1,000 billion. So it's like 1,000 billion nuclear bombs going off every single second. That's
too much.
And that's a megaton bomb. That's 66 trillion Hiroshima bombs every second.
What?
66 trillion. Okay, still, that's very confusing. How about this? This would be, in 1 second, the sun has the same amount of energy as a Hiroshima nuclear bomb going off every second since the year 1700. Ooh. So if we went back 320 years and set off a nuclear bomb every second for those 320 years, that's how much energy the sun puts out in a single second.
Interesting, because that actually is fathomable.
Right, I was...
You put it in a fathomable way.
I didn't understand any of this, and I just needed it to be slightly more fathomable. And you can just crunch the numbers down. And I was like, okay, eventually, if it came out as like 7,000 years, it'd be like, okay, well, we say like, really long back. But 320 years is comprehensible. And 1 every second for 320 years also.
It's pretty comprehensible. Yeah,
you're welcome, world.
That's unbelievable. I think, obviously, we see it's the little disc in the sky, and everything like that. I don't think we understand how sheltered we are inside of our atmosphere. Like, it's
by the giant vacuum of
just death and
space 8 light seconds.
Yeah, it was 7, isn't it? 7, 8. Yeah,
and like if the sun blew up, we'd only find out. If the sun went out, we'd find out. No, 8 minutes, not seconds.
Is it?
I think so, because it's 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds to the moon, 3 seconds there and back.
Yes.
I'm not sure. It's definitely like it might be 7 or 8 minutes.
Honestly, don't know.
I'm pretty sure. Definitely not seconds. Yeah, we'd find out like 7 minutes later if the sun went out.
I would like to know, if the sun went out, would we in a moment die, or would we in 10 seconds die? Like, is it, or would we for half a day survive in the little incubation of our atmosphere?
Well, let me tell you, Sam, I've got deep scientific knowledge on this because I once watched an episode of The Outer Limits, which was a 1990s TV show. And
I feel this is based on fact.
Absolutely based on fact. Fun with facts. They said it was in the episode they think the sun went supernova. And because it went dark and all this crazy shit started happening, and there was a scientist, and he was like, "Oh, okay." So he thought that shockwave of the sun exploding would travel like at the speed of sound, which now that I'm saying it, that sounds a bit ridiculous because it would obviously be going much faster than that. But not the speed of light. Or maybe the sun was expanding at the speed of sound. So they were like, oh, we got a few days or what. Yeah, now that I think about it, this is just,
the sun is supposed to end as a red giant. Not end, but it's going to turn into a red giant, our sun.
And almost swallow us, or are we actually swallowed?
I think we're swallowed. I think we're gone.
I think there was some updated science on that recently, but yeah, oh well, we're screwed either way. We'll have to move on.
We're not. We're all right, but like our
oh yeah, we'll be long dead.
We're okay. I think.
We'll be living inside computers. Okay, so let's get to the crunch of this. This would be really loud if you could hear it. Really loud. But comprehensibly loud. So, decibels, right? Like how loud something is. They think, they know, that if we could hear that sound here on Earth, where we are, it'd be 125 decibels. So for some context, 120 decibels is you standing 1 meter away from a train blasting its horn.
Okay, I was going to say it's about a rock concert. 120 decibels, I think, is roughly
a very, very loud rock
standing
concert.
next to the speaker. Like, yeah, that's about 120.
That's hearing damage very shortly.
Yeah.
So
I wonder. Sorry,
go on. No, please.
I was just going to say, I wonder how they block that out for astronauts, like who are doing spacewalks.
Dude, what do you mean? It's a vacuum.
Oh fucking God, Jesus!
It's not like the atmosphere protects us from all this
sound.
Oh,
Sam, that was bad.
That's all right. I'm sure I say many stupid things.
It's 8 o'clock in the evening.
It is.
Sorry. Where were we?
Can you imagine, like, why are all the astronauts coming back deaf?
This is a clever show, and I just said that. Damn, that's really bad.
It's all right.
That was one of my low points. All right.
You know what? This is also fun. There's so many numbers. I had to write them all down. If you were standing 1 meter, so that's 125 decibels. If you were standing 1 meter away from the sun, it would only be 290 decibels.
Really?
Because the scale is logarithmic. So, like, I don't know, a whisper will be like 60 or something like this. And then a rock concert is 120. Obviously, a whisper is not half the loudness of a rock concert. I'm sure these are all screwed up, but it's logarithmic.
Oh, because it's about the waveform.
It just gets really, I don't know, but it's like if you add 1, it's like times 10 or whatever, something like that. So it gets like really extreme. So, yeah, and this is why. So it might only be 125 to 290 decibels, but it's 30 quadrillion times louder. So I was like, oh, yeah, it's really loud.
I don't feel there's much living happening up there. I'm not sure that's a nice place to be. Maybe.
Well, you can't hear it even if you're right next to it. It's a vacuum.
I suppose.
Sound can't travel through a vacuum.
Isn't that terrifying?
You could just be standing next to the sun. It's completely quiet.
It's going mad. There's all explosions happening everywhere. There's like a quadrillion Hiroshima bombs exploding, and you hear nothing.
Why those? I love it. You watch, Star Wars, Star Trek, and these things. They're like, pew, pew. It's like, no, there'd be no sound. No. Like that giant spaceship will blow up, and it's like nothing. No sound. Just, yeah. It makes it. I feel it even makes it even more creepy. And whenever there's like horror, sci-fi stuff, it's always super quiet because it's space. You want a bonus fact?
Yes, bonus fact.
I found out about this on Reddit, and there was another Reddit thread. You know what? Deaf people, when they can hear for the first time because they have, I don't know, like a cochlear implant or whatever, one of the things that apparently, they ask them, oh, what most surprised you about being able to hear? The sun doesn't make noise. People were like, they're like you, Sam. They're like, why can't I hear the sun? They really expected that the sun would make some sort of noise.
No.
Because it's so there and ever present, so bright. Like, yeah,
that's unbelievable. I would never have guessed that in a million years. That's really interesting. Wow. Goodness.
Right.
That's, I once saw a documentary about a blind guy, and it was really interesting because they were asking him to describe shape and like how he thought something would look. and they said, like, can you try and describe to us what you think this would look like? And he said, the problem is I have no concept of what this would look like, because
Can't you feel it though?
he can feel it, but he doesn't know what anything has. He's never known what anything looks like.
For colour though, like
no. Like, he's never seen anything. He doesn't actually know what it would look
but
like.
I don't know what
You could
this
say-
book looks like if I'm blind, but I can be like,
But you've
it's got some
seen a book,
pages.
you've touched a book, you've associated it to a book. If you've never seen what a book looks like,
No,
you will
I
know.
disagree.
You will
That
know
can't
how
be
it
true.
feels.
If I'd never seen anything, if you okay, here you go. Show me an object that I've never seen. You'd bring an object in that I've never seen before, and you'd be like, close your eyes and feel this object, and I'm like, okay, well, it's like this, and I can like build up a picture in my mind of what it's like Batman and his Sona thing.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Am I making sense at all?
I'm not agreeing with that. Like, you can feel the shape.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the point. The point is, for us, we have a concept of shape is associated with how something looks.
Shape is associated with how something is.
Well, there's that.
The
But
looking is just how we observe that shape. So, blind people use their fingers.
yes, I suppose. But like, it's he couldn't sort of conceptualize it in the same way that maybe you or I could, because we see something, we know what it looks like, and so if you ask a blind person, what do you think this looks like, they have no idea what the idea of something looking like something is. Like, it's like, yes, the shape is this, I can feel the shape, but I have no idea how this looks if I'm blind, if I've never seen something.
I don't think that's...
Yeah, you see, this is conceptual.
Look, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I
blind
still
man
think...
said it wasn't me.
No, I get what you mean, but it's like, if that was the case, people wouldn't be able to navigate. Look, we're not blind.
We're not blind. We
You're
can't do
already
this.
saying a blind person did say this, so I'm not disagreeing that the blind person did say this. I'm having real trouble getting my head around this. I get it for color. Like, if someone's like, describe red, you'd be like, oh, it's warm, and it's like, but that's useless.
Well, some people have that what was it called? The synesthesia. Synesthesia, where they say, like, describe red.
You know, you can give
happiness.
yourself synesthesia.
Can you? How?
Okay, so there's only temporarily, but there was a study done where they had a book. They gave the book to the participants, and certain words were different colors. So it'd be like, okay, so you'd be reading the book, and it would say, what are we doing?
Something red.
1 meter away from the sun, and meter would be in red. And so every meter would be red, and every when would be green. And then people would read books later, and they'd see the words, even if they weren't in those colors, temporarily, because they got so used to it. So that's kind of what synesthesia can be.
That's interesting, because that kind of, in its own way, comments on how we read, doesn't it, really? Because we don't necessarily read every word. So if you know the word is there, then your brain fills the gap.
Our brains are incredible.
Amazing.